Good morning, psych students. Welcome back. It is time to begin a new unit. This unit, we will be talking about social psychology, which I'll explain a little more about that in a minute. First things first, you do have an assignment. Of the 18 of you, 8 have taken the test so far, so keep it up. Keep working on the motivation and emotion quiz. The grades are really good so far. I think the average grade is a 27 out of 30. So nice job. And if you haven't taken it yet, the Kahoot's still up. You can use that to help you review. The quiz will stay up indefinitely until you guys all take it. Okay, so good luck with that. First things first, you should have received on Microsoft Teams a new note packet today. If you follow along with the stuff that I'll be talking about this unit, so it should look something like this: Unit 6, Social Psychology. One of the last units we'll be talking about this semester. Hopefully we'll get to talk in person at some point, but until then, this will have to do. So social psychology, just the general idea, is the study of how we interact in groups and how groups influence us. Okay, so a lot of the stuff we'll be talking about this unit has to do with situations that can seem kind of a tad bit depressing sometimes. How sometimes the group behavior overwhelms our individual consciousness and our individual responsibility. But we're not going to get to the wacky experiments that different psychologists have done in this unit just yet. We're going to start on the more positive side of things with attraction. So as you can see, the first note: so social psychology, study of how we interact in groups and how groups influence our behavior. In this case, we're going to be talking about our attraction to other people. And psychologists have lots of different theories as to what draws us together. So we'll be looking at that today. So, have your notes out, jot down some ideas that we talk about here as we go. So this isn't in particular order, but proximity plays a role, they believe, in attraction. And the reason that why we get together with members of the same sex or members of the opposite sex in the first place. I'll give you an example. Mrs. Bowden and I have been dating since high school. We went to the same high school. Many of you, who knows, may end up marrying someone at Lincoln Way West in the future. I know it seems crazy, especially for those of you who are on the really young side of things. But the idea of proximity is that we are attracted to people who are literally physically close to us. And it doesn't even have to be relationships. Think about those of you going away to school next year who will become really good friends with their roommates or really good friends with people on their floor. Now, part of that is because you literally are near them. Okay, so the idea of proximity is that actual physical closeness breeds friendship, breeds intimacy, could breed romantic attraction and things like that. It's probably not as true now as it was back, say, when your grandparents. But think about how many of your grandparents married someone that they grew up with. Now, my uncle and aunt went to the same grade school as each other. And things like that were pretty common back in the day. So that's why proximity is a factor. It's also one of the reasons long distance relationships are hard to maintain, because you're literally not there with each other. That physical closeness is gone. You're 3 hours away, 5 hours away, 6 hours away, and it can be hard to maintain that attraction over such long distances. Number 2, the mirror exposure effect. The idea of the mirror exposure effect is the more you're around someone, the more you will like them. I know this kind of runs counter to those of you who maybe you started off, say, really enjoying someone's company, and then eventually you found their behavior annoying. But no, the mirror exposure effect, the more you're around someone, the more you like them. And maybe you've had a situation where somebody didn't make a great impression on you at first, and you thought, this person's dumb and I don't want to hang out with them. And then the more and more you were around them, you became friends. And this is certainly the case with Mrs. Bowden and me. We didn't instantly fall in love. It wasn't a love at first sight sort of thing. We both ran cross country. We both ran track for the same high school. And it was kind of one of those things where, yeah, the more you're around someone, the more you like them. Okay, your exposure effect. Maybe you'll have those you going away to school next year. Maybe you'll have this in your classes. Maybe you'll have at first somebody in your dorm makes you really mad and you don't like them, but then the more you're around them, the more you like them. Or even a professor doesn't make a great impression on you. More around them, the more you like them. Physical appearance, there really isn't a definition you need to write down for physical appearance. I think we all know what it is. One thing psychologists do like to point out is that, obviously physical appearance does play a role in attraction, but it's a very subjective experience. Okay, maybe some of you have a different type, okay, than somebody else. Maybe somebody like, well, I've known guys who won't date tall girls because, well, it's intimidating to have a girl who's taller than you and so on and so forth. I have other guys who are like all about tall girls. Okay, love women's basketball players and things like that. So it varies from person to person. Perhaps your type may not be the same as someone else's type. To you, your significant other or future spouse is the most beautiful person in the world. To somebody else, maybe not somebody they're attracted to, and that's okay. Physical appearance or desire there is very subjective. Number 4, similarity. It's often been said that opposites attract. Research doesn't bear that out. Research suggests that, I'm not saying exactly like somebody, because as we talked about in the personality unit, sometimes we don't get along with people who are exactly like us. But having similar traits and similar interests and things like that does play a role in attraction, and more so than opposites. It doesn't mean you're the exact same. Obviously, there's what psychologists call complementary traits that help balance each other out. But then in general, things like education levels, tend to be similar. One parent goes to college, their spouse might have gone to college as well, or they both graduated from high school. They marry each other then. Education levels, it's pretty rare to have a Trump supporter and a Hillary supporter living in the same house. Maybe it works that way in your homes, but yeah, that's the exception, not the rule. That similarity, the more similar we are, the better. Okay, the more similar are, the more attracted to each other we are. Oftentimes with opposites, if you're dating someone a lot different from you, like say in various Hallmark romantic comedies, those qualities that make them different at first you may find endearing, but eventually you can find them aggravating. Kind of the reverse of the mere exposure effect. Number 5, reciprocity of liking. We tend to be attracted to people who are attracted to us. We tend to like people who like us. Maybe you've had that embarrassing experience where you're bad-mouthing somebody behind their back and somebody comes up and says, well, I don't know why you're saying all those mean things about Mr. Gallagher, Mr. Bowden, because I heard that he really likes and respects you. And then you just feel really awkward and silly. But oftentimes hearing things like that, you start looking at the positives of someone else. You start liking them. That's the reciprocity of liking effect. The idea that once we find out we're liked by someone, we're more likely to be attracted to them or to like them in turn. It definitely happened to me. I remember in middle school, I remember somebody telling me, or asking me, hey, what do you think of that girl Jenny? And he's okay, she's a girl. And then they're like, well, we heard she likes you. Oh, really? Wow. And then immediately the hearts are going off of my head and things like that. That's reciprocity of liking effect. And the final thing on there, that's later in the unit. Reward theory. A reward theory is the idea that we're attracted to people who benefit us in some way, or the idea that we are attracted to people when we weigh the costs and benefits of relationships. Okay, so good example from that 70s show. I would have shown the clip if we were all together. You look it up on your own. Michael Kelso in one episode says he believes that all relationships are based on points. And in order for a relationship to work, the points have to be equal. So he talks about how Jackie's mom is really hot. and that means that's worth like 20 points. And Bob, Donna's dad, who's dating Jackie's mom, is the nicest guy in the world, and that's worth 1 point. But he's also rich, which is worth 19 points. So that's why their relationship works. Think about later in life. What if you decides to date a sugar daddy of some kind, and people ask you why? Well, he benefits me by supporting me and paying for everything and getting nice toys for my children and things like that. That would be the reward theory. So it's kind of mercenary, and it kind of merges the my two favorite subjects, economics and psychology, together, because reward theory has a lot to do with weighing the costs and benefits of the relationship. I was once in a relationship in high school where after it ended, I found out that the girl had said she she liked going out with me because she didn't have to pay for everything. Cold-blooded, but it's a good example of reward theory. So tomorrow we'll be talking about different relationships and Sternberg's triangular theory. We'll definitely review attraction a little bit, but the main idea of today, just different ideas for what draws us together. It could be the fact that we're near each other, proximity, the fact that we're around each other enough so that we get to know each other and learn to like each other. That's mere exposure effect. Find each other physically attractive, physical appearance, similar interests, similar hobbies, things like that, similar personalities, similarity, reciprocity of liking. I find out, you like me, so I decide I like you back. And reward theory, we each benefit somehow from the relationship. That's the reward theory of attraction. So, have a good day. Like I said, if you haven't taken the quiz yet on motivation and emotion, make sure you do that. And we'll talk tomorrow about relationships.